Hey there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Practical Marketing Tips for Small Law Firms, where we interview top industry experts about proven, low-cost, use-today attorney marketing strategies. I'm your host, Cara Pryor, president of James Publishing, co-founder of our Marketing Amplifier system. I spend most of my time really strategizing with lawyers on how to improve their marketing ROI, the return on that ever so precious marketing investment. Okay, so like we always do, let's just get right down to business. We have a super special guest today. I'm really excited to welcome the legend, Ken Hardison, the founder of PILMMA. PILMMA's innovative law firm growth program shows you how to get more cases by working smarter, not harder. That's what we all want, right? So Ken created PILMMA to fill the void of marketing and management resources available to attorneys. So today we're going to talk about specifically three sort of big marketing mistakes that we both see lawyers make all the time, and then how to kind of overcome those mistakes. Hi, Ken. How's it going? Welcome.
Going great. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here. So you've really had a fascinating career. Maybe you can start by telling us just a little bit about how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So, I'm old as dirt, but I graduated at law school '82 and worked with another firm for about 3 months, left them, started my own law firm. Within a year, I was asked to be a partner with the oldest law firm in my town. I stayed with them from like '84 to '96. And I was growing the practice just a little bit, 5–10% a year. And then all of a sudden, like '93, '94, it started leveling out. '95, it went down a little bit. I said, what's going on? What's going on? And I had a kind of a general practice at that time. And I went to court one time to do a DWI, and the guy comes walking in with crutches. And he's like, just call him Joe. And I said, well, what happened, man? He said, I got T-boned by a transfer truck. I said, well, you know I do that. He said, yeah, but I saw this guy on TV, and I figured he must be good if he's on TV. I said, okay. I went and tried this DWI case. I won it. Went back to the office. I had two partners. I said, we've got to change. I said, this is killing us. This is the reason that we're not growing. And they said, no, it's unprofessional. You know, we're not going to do it. We had a conversation for about 6 months. I left, took an associate, 3 staff, and didn't know a thing about marketing or management because we didn't teach that in law school. So I went to everything I could go to that had nothing to do with law, just marketing and management. And then I picked out 3 or 4 lawyers in the United States that were just real successful. I called them up. I got in my car, flew down there, and or up there or out there, and shadowed them for 2 or 3 days and just picked their brains. And they were very willing to share because I was not their competition. And I went out and borrowed everything I could borrow, and I went on TV and went from signing up 20 cases a month to 120. And I went bankrupt because I couldn't handle it. And I didn't have the staff, I didn't have the infrastructure. Then I read a book called E-Myth by Michael Gerber. That book's been around forever. I read that in like '97. And I was able to hire some people and help me set up my systems, my processes, my procedures. And then from there, I just kept going to everything and trying stuff, and some stuff would work, some things wouldn't, because definitely nobody in your competition is not going to tell you what to do, right? Because they're gunning for you. So yeah, we grew it from '97 to about 2002, from 2 lawyers, 3 staff to 13 lawyers, 47 staff. And we kind of went into doing just PI, workers' comp, Social Security. I sold that in 2010, moved down to Myrtle Beach, was going to retire. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. And people just kept calling me, wanting to know how to do this, do that. So I started PILMMA. So I got to make some money off of this. And then I got bored. So I started doing that more. And then somebody came to me and said, well, Ken, you know, you were able to get, you know, because I think I raised like $500,000 back in '97 because I'd been practicing 15 years. I had some assets. Sure. And, you know, I don't have that. And, you know, so I said, I'm going to prove to you that you can do it. So I set a goal. I just took $6,000 a month, started a Social Security practice because I was in South Carolina. You don't have to be licensed in South Carolina to do that, right? Started from scratch. 2 years, I had about 700 cases. And I proved my point to myself anyway, if nobody else, that you don't have to have loads of money. But I had to do a lot of grassroots marketing and some things that I did. And, and I looked at it and I said, well, to make the kind of money I want to make, I got to have like 4,000 cases and another 40 staff. And I said, I don't want that. So I sold it and just stuck with PILMMA and been doing that, consulting work and just having a good time, playing a little golf, doing a little fishing out here at the beach.
Living the dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy it. I don't make the money I made when I was practicing law. I was making big bucks, but I'm so much happier and, the stress level was like 10% of what it was. I still have some stress, but it's nothing like it was,
Right.
so you have to trade one thing for another.
Right, exactly. I mean, it just seems like so much of the advice that you're now passing on to attorneys, I mean, it's battle tested. They're proven techniques. You have used them in your own firm. You know they work. You obviously have run them yourself. So, I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I'm just saying, and plus, I haven't practiced since 2015. I stole that, but I've been consulting and doing masterminds with lawyers for 12 years. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a learning process. They teach me sometimes,
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so getting down to it, what do you see as kind of the three biggest mistakes lawyers make in marketing their firms? And then let's talk a little bit about, kind of how to fix those errors.
Well, there's probably 5 or 6, but the top 3, I had to really think about this one. I think the number one, and this is the one that's the hardest for people to grasp, is creating a differentiator, standing out from the crowd, the clutter. I call that a unique selling proposition. And it is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy, but there's ways to do it. And because what lawyers tend to do is just copy what everybody else is doing and say the same things. And when people are looking for a lawyer, they don't know how am I going to choose? Why should I? You got to answer these 2 questions. Do I need a lawyer? And if I do need a lawyer, why in the heck should I choose you over everybody else I see on TV, billboards, radio, everywhere. I see them everywhere. Thousands of messages each day. Hire us. We're tough. We're aggressive. We care. Free consultation. Everybody's saying the same thing. So if you can figure out a way, and there's ways of doing it, and I actually teach how to do that. And there's like 10 different ways to get there. There's 3 that I like methods of doing it. But if you can figure out how to differentiate yourself and stand out from the clutter, as long as you don't use price, never differentiate yourself on price, because you'll always lose. There'll always be somebody undercut you.
What do you think is the easiest way? What's kind of the easiest way to distinguish yourself as an attorney?
I think the easiest way is to call your best past 50 to 100 clients that have referred you a case in the last 3 years, because they're going to be your super fans, right? They love you. They use you and they referred you somebody, and ask them a series of questions. And one question would be, the reason I chose your firm over all the other law firms was blank. Leave it wide open. And then, the one thing about your firm that I really love is blank. The reason that I refer you clients on a regular basis is blank. And that's going to tell you what it is about you that in their mind sets you apart from the competition. All right. And there's about 7 more, and I can't remember them right now, to be honest with you.
Those are good.
But what I could do, I could give, at the end of this deal, I'll come up with a URL and they can go to it and get it free. I'll do that. I'll figure that out.
That would be
because
great.
I can't remember it, but I'll give them the 10 questions they have to ask. That's the way I did mine when I did my first law firm, because I thought it because we were tough and aggressive, but what everybody said was, and then we did a spreadsheet and we looked at everything. We said, what was the common deal? And the 2 common things was that we always put them, it wasn't about the money to our law firm. They knew that. It was about putting them first. They always put the client first above everything, and some lawyers don't do that, and they know that.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to dozens of attorneys every week, and no one that I talk to, honestly, is doing what you just what you just recommended, just calling those past clients. So many attorneys just assume that their past clients are going to remember them and think fondly of them when there is a business to refer their way. But really there has to be some sort of coordinated approach, some sort of
Yeah,
coordinated effort to really kind of cultivate those referrals. I mean,
yeah,
it can really be a gold mine.
yeah. And so what we came up with, we came up with our differentiator was, well, we came up with a tagline first, which is kind of reverse of what you should do because the tagline is different than a UST. It was putting you first. And I started out with always putting you first, and then we just went to putting you first. But then what we came up with was how can we we've got this. So what can we do that really makes us stand out that would just drive everybody crazy? And so what I did was we had a contingency-based law firm. You can't do this with a domestic or criminal practice, but there's some other things you can do. So we came up with you can't guarantee results either, right? So I came up with this thing. This was how it went. No lawyer can guarantee results, and neither can we, but we can and do guarantee you this. If you're not completely satisfied with the way we treat you in your case, first 30 days, you get your file back, no fees, no cost. That's our 100% client satisfaction, not client service satisfaction guarantee. So we give it, and the deal was they could fire us anyway after 30 days. And we get quantum merit, but what you're going to get the first 30 days, you just paper pushing. And when we did that, and I changed my commercials and everything, my website, our calls went up 22%.
Wow.
So it did work. And then we didn't just stop there. We created a client bill of rights. We created a client advocate hotline so they could complain, because you can't make things better if you don't know. You're right. And doing all that together, it really catapulted us. And then with the Social Security disability firm, I come up with disability is what we do. It's all we do. So that we were, we were specialized without saying we were specialized.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a domestic, firm, you could come up with something like, you could just represent only men, or you can do anything you want to. I mean, the deal is, and then sometimes you can just use a book, and you're good on books. You know about books. You can use that as your differentiator. Here, get our free book,
Mm-hmm.
our free guide, whatever. That can be a differentiator if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
But the deal is you got to have something that stands you apart. You can't just. One of my mentors told me, says, when everybody copies everything, it becomes incest, and it makes you stupid, right? When you have incest, it's stupid. You get stupid children, right? Well, that's what happens. So you don't want to do that because you're thinking that lawyer's doing it, then it must work. Not necessarily.
Right.
Don't ever believe that. Don't ever believe because there's a lot of dumb lawyers out there spending a lot of money, and they got no clue because they don't keep up with ROI, and they just do it because that's the way Joe over there does it. So he looks like he's got a Mercedes. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And he might be married to a rich girl, or he might have a farm that he inherited, a gold mine or something. Who knows why he's driving that Mercedes?
Right. And to that point too, to distinguish yourself, sometimes video is a really simple way to stand out, right?
Yeah.
And still so many attorneys are not kind of taking advantage of that. So you mentioned a book, obviously you can stand out with content, but video, a short 30-second straight to camera video will do more for you than, thousands of words. As far as, you have to think of your prospective client coming to your website. They don't know anything about you as a person, as an attorney. They don't know much about their legal situation, lots of apprehension. So anything you can do to kind of build that trust and certainly stand out, video is a really great way to do that too.
Yeah, like on my Social Security firm, what I did was I did a short 68-second video, and I had my headline, and the headline is very important. I said that how to double your chances of winning your disability case. I had a 68, and I was talking about, there's a lot of landmines. I said, just go over here and get my book, Disability Secrets, on how to avoid those landmines, And so I was using videos, the book, and a big headline differentiator,
Smart.
And that helped a lot in creating those 700 cases because, I didn't have a lot of money. I just had to get them to the site, you know.
Right, right. Okay, so going back to the three marketing mistakes. So certainly standing out from the crowd is one. Have we?
Yeah.
What else? What else do you?
Number two probably is the message, and the deal is you need to, people will just throw up stuff, you know, just call us or whatever, but you really need to have a message that's consistent, like you know, and the whole deal, the whole ad. There's 5 parts, and I could get on that. You know that, Kara. But the deal is, you just don't think about it. You need to think about who your ideal client is, what you're trying to do. You need to enter the conversation that's on their mind. If you can do that and figure out what the triggers are, like for PI lawyers, there's two main triggers. There's 30 triggers. There's a book by Joe Sugarman called Triggers. You ought to read it. But the 2 big ones for PI lawyers is greed and speed. And then the other one that I like is justice. They just want what's right. They don't want no more, but they don't want to get screwed. So you can figure that out. You know, they just want what's right. They want to make sure their family's looked after. So that message, and that could take me 2 hours to talk about. So I'm just going to say it's the message.
Yeah.
But here is the one that you probably surprises you, is lack of conversions. And what I mean by that is, you say, well, that's not marketing. Well, yeah, it is. It's marketing up to the time they friggin' sign the contract or they pay you the retainer. You're right. And so this is where I don't do it anymore. I used to go all over the country consulting with firms, but I don't do that anymore. I'm getting too old. But number one deal everywhere I go is that there's always leakage and waste in the intake department. What I'm saying is, and every lawyer I talk to swears that they sign up every case they want. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I say, you probably do. But let me tell you, your staff and the other lawyers are not. And I can promise you. And you know how I can promise you? Because I used to do ghost calls and do 5 ghost calls where it was like mystery shoppers and record them and play them for the lawyers. And they would get physically sick or get mad and say, I just can't believe this. You know, I just started doing it. Actually, I just created a whole company called lawyersghostcalls.com. And we're doing that. And I actually do it for my masterminds. I give them 2 free ones. Well, they ain't free because they pay me, but it's added bonus. And it's just amazing what they see, you know, because they just don't believe it. But listen, when you listen, you know, as Trump knows, the tapes don't lie. I mean, you know, when you hear it, what are you going to say? I mean, the deal is it don't lie. So that is where I think a lot of mistake. You spend all that money and do all this other stuff right, and then you blow it off because you don't have a dedicated intake person, or you don't handle your calls after hours, or you don't get them in your office within 24 hours and get them signed up, or get a credit card deposit, or do something, whatever kind of practice you're in. You know, you got to get commitment, okay? And that means you got to push them to get in your office or either get signed up or something. Make some kind of commitment to you within 24 hours after they get off the phone. And well, a lot of my PI lawyers now are actually signing them up while they're on the phone with DocuSign and text sign and different things, these different programs they got. But you got to, because it's so competitive. And the deal is, once they make that commitment, they're most likely not going to leave you, you know, unless you're just doing a real terrible job. Yeah, which they should if you're doing a terrible job.
Right. I mean, the power of those mystery calls, those recorded calls. I mean, really, there could be, you know, you can't assume that you know exactly what's happening unless you're monitoring those, right? And in some cases, you can make some simple tweaks to that, you know, script or the talking points or the intake process that can really pay dividends, you know, for you know, years, and you would have never been able to identify those. I agree. Mystery shopping, calling your firm is so critical. Recording some of those calls, it's a great training device. Think about how much might be, you know, leaking through. Also following up with those perspective.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I could show you where if you just increase it 5-10%, you can make a, depends on the size of your firm, but just say like your average fee is $5,000 and you miss 2 cases a month. That's $120,000 profit. That's a lot of money where I come from. Yeah. And I've seen, you know, I put it to you this way. I've been in some firms and turned them around, and without spending an extra dollar, they made another $500,000. I mean, just because they turned it around. They went and hired some people, they trained them, they held them accountable. They did, and they coached them. And, like nobody teaches you how to handle objections. Nobody teaches you, what cases you don't, because even if you don't take the case, you might want to refer it out and get a referral fee. If you're a criminal lawyer, somebody calls you, been in a T-bone by a transfer truck, and you got a person that says, well, we only do DWIs, so sorry, we can't help you today. That guy just probably lost $100,000 because he would have got $1 million for the case. They would have got a third. That's 333, and he would have got at least a third, if not a half of that. And I've seen that happen. Actually had a call where they call about a MESO case, which is asbestosis. And those cases are always worth 1 to 3 million. And the law firm did PI, and the girl said, we don't handle those cases. I'm sorry. And that was on one of my ghost calls. And the lawyer lost it, and that person lost their job.
I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that. So you just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Ken, this kind of brings us to why are some lawyers super successful and others just average, right? So it's, why do some attorneys work 80-hour weeks, never seem to kind of attract the ideal cases that they're looking for, while others are home every night for dinner and they're able to work sort of exclusively on those best cases? What's the deal? What's at play here?
Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons, but here's what I found in the last 10, 15 years, just really observing and helping the lawyers and the ones that I can see that in my programs. There's some that just really excel, and some of them do okay, and some of them drop out because they just don't do it right. But it's really, it comes down to it, and I have to explain it, but it's really two things: focus, real split, and discipline. And what I mean by that is, it's like I had a call today. The lawyer was supposed to have something done so we could discuss it. He didn't get to it. He said, I just didn't have time. And I had to get a little tough on him. I said, here's the deal. If it's something that you really want, you'll make time for it. You do. I mean, that's just the way we all do it. And it's like, if you really want it, it's like me. I'm overweight. I'm not hurting enough. Nobody's told me I'm going to die because I'm overweight yet. And so therefore, every time I go get a physical, the doctor says, you're great, but you need to lose some weight. But all my tests come back good. I'm not scared. So you know what? I know I need to, but I don't need to bad enough to take the time to do what I need to do, right? I don't have the discipline or the focus to do it. And I'm telling on myself that, but that's the truth. That when I had my law firm, man, I was driven. I was focused. I mean, I was disciplined. There was nothing that was going to hold me back. And that the people that do, and the deal is you don't have to kill yourself to do it. I did to start with, but there's so many ways you can do it better now. Figure out what your strengths are, delegate your weaknesses, get really good A+ people. No law firm is great law firm or any great business ever built on the back of average people.
Yeah.
You've got to have great people. And you can't do it by yourself. And that's been one of my gifts or lucks is I've hired people that were smarter than I was in certain areas because I'm terrible on technology. I know what to do on management, but I'm really terrible at it because I want everybody to like me. And when you're being a manager, everybody ain't gonna like you. What you really want is them to respect you. They might not like you, but they want to respect you and know that you're fair. Still might not like you, and that's okay, But so yeah, I think that's the big deal is you've got to want it bad enough. Like if you can't, I tell all lawyers, set aside 2 hours a week to work on your business.
Yeah.
Just 2 hours. You really need 8, but I start out small, 2 hours.
I like it.
And make an appointment with yourself. I said, just put it in your calendar. And if you get interrupted at the office, stay at home those 2 hours and just get it done.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point of, you can't carry it all on your shoulders, right?
No,
so
you can't.
Something's got to give. If you're concentrating on pressing client matters, you have to have a team, staff, outsourced. You have to have some support if you really want to see that growth, right?
Yeah, it's like I got a meeting tomorrow morning with a lawyer, and he just can't get it done. And he said, Ken, he dropped out early today. He said, I just can't get it done. Yeah. Well, my solution he's not going to like, but my solution is going to be is you need to hire somebody that can get it done for you, because you're not going to get it done.
Right.
He works his cases great, but he's not going to get the marketing done. He's not going to do what it takes to get it done.
Right.
And I figured that out after a year of talking to him and trying to coach him. So what I'm going to do is tell him, you're going to pay me $5,000. I'm going to go hire you somebody and train them. And then you're going to listen to them and do what they say do.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're going to be in the same hamster wheel that you've been in for the last 5 years.
Right.
He's making pretty good money, but he can't get past that. He's hit a plateau. He can't go to the next level. And it's because he will not let go and just go ahead and hire somebody. Just like when somebody tells me they can't afford to hire an intake person. Well, I just told you, if you can get 2 more cases a month, you pay somebody $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month. They're going to pay for themselves 2 or 3 times.
No
So
brainer.
I say you can't afford not to hire them.
No brainer. Yep, I agree.
You know.
Yep. So Ken, tell everyone a little bit about PILMMA and kind of how, you really help lawyers grow their firms and where they can learn more about joining.
Yeah. So it's PILMMA.org, Powerful Innovative Legal Marketing Management Association. And it's PILMMA.org. And so what we do, we have 3 levels. We have a gold level, but what we really try to do, is like the gold level probably is more for smaller law firms. And we've got a video series and some one-on-one coaching to help you grab that low-hanging fruit, get your intakes right, look at your cash flow. I got this whole system about, I call it the 7 levers of cash, where you increase your price 5%, and there's a thing called price elasticity. I'm not going to get all into it now, but I can show you by doing little things here, tweak there, 2%, 3%, that I can increase your income by 20, 30% without profits, without changing your, what you're taking in. And then just try to show them what you're talking about, the little stuff like what you need for videos, the grassroots stuff, networking, how to get referrals from old clients, other lawyers, because that's where I see a lot of lawyers. They think they spend their way out of it, but the deal is, why do you want to go spend all this extra money to convince somebody that don't know you to hire you when you've got all these past clients that love you, or most of them did, I hope, if they stay with you. And that if you did it right, and you do a lot of this stuff with the newsletters and the books and staying in contact, I mean, that's golden. And then I call it building a herd, building a fence around your herd, and then staying on top of their minds and getting them to refer you people, because those usually your best clients, because you don't have to sell yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so think lawyers thinking backwards. I mean, for a lot, I mean, some of them get it. I mean, but there's so many different things you could do. I mean, I got 15 different ways to get referrals from old clients. There's little stuff that costs nothing, and then there's some stuff you have to spend a little money on.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are really packing a ton of value into those memberships. I highly recommend checking it out for sure. So wrapping it up, talked about the 3 biggest marketing mistakes we see attorneys make: not standing out from the crowd, not really kind of defining a clear message, and really the big one, lack of conversions. So, really think about those top 3 kind of lowest hanging fruit items when you're moving forward. Thank you for your time today, Ken. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So be sure to join us next time for another episode of Practical Marketing Tips for Small Law Firms. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.